Hi, this is Mary Bush from Stampin' in the Sand. Thank you for joining me today. Today's card is a gender-neutral card for any occasion. I've created it using Stampin' Up's Bootiful Occasions stamp set. This stamp set will be current through June 2nd of this year. However, Stampin' Up has informed us that they will continue manufacturing retiring stamp sets through May 26th. After that, they will become available as supplies last. So if you're interested in purchasing Bootiful Occasions, I would suggest that you do so sooner rather than later so that you don't miss out. So let's get started making our card. Our card base is Cajun Craze. I've cut it 8.5 by 5.5 inches. I've scored it at 4 1/4. My next layer is Early Espresso. That is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. Our next layer is from the Adventure Bound Designer Series paper stack. This paper stack is in our Occasions catalog, which runs until June 2nd also. It has some lovely print images as well as photograph images within its pages. Very versatile. So this one is a Cajun Craze fabric print. And our next layer is 1 inch by 5 inches, and it's a lovely Early Espresso Argyle pattern. So those will form the basis of our card. Next, I'm going to bring in a piece of Early Espresso scrap and a piece of Very Vanilla scrap. And I'm going to cut those using my Framelits Labels collection dies. I'm going to select the third from the smallest out of the pack. And I'm going to bring in my Big Shot machine as well as my magnetic platform. I love my magnetic platform. I don't use my Framelits dies without it. I just love it. So we're going to lay down our Very Vanilla scrap first, put down our framelit, cover it with another plate, and crank it through the Big Shot. Okay, so we're going to remove that piece and set it aside. Next, I'm going to bring in my Early Espresso scrap. I'm going to use the same framelit die, crank that through the Big Shot, pop that out, and we can remove the Big Shot. We're done with that for now. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces ready so that we can work on our card. Next, I'm going to bring in another piece of Very Vanilla scrap. I'm going to bring in the Western Boot from Bootiful Occasions, and I'm going to bring in my Jet Black Stays On. I like this Jet Black Stays On when I'm going to be coloring because it doesn't bleed and blend in when I'm using my pens. So, I'm going to ink up the boot, make sure it's all good and inked. Stamp that, and we're going to ink it up again and stamp it again. Set that aside. We're done with that. And we're done with our Stays On. Next, from my Regals Collection Stampin' Write markers, I'm going to select Cajun Craze. Then I'm going to bring in my Neutrals Stampin' Write markers, and I need Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, and Soft Suede. And I can put those aside. So now I'm going to color in my boot. I'm going to start with my lightest color, which is my Crumb Cake, and I'm going to color in the top of my boot. I'm not going to worry too much about streaks or lines because I want it to look like it's aged and kind of suede on my boot. Like these boots have seen a lot of riding. and a lot of love. So I'm just going to color this in. After it starts to dry a little bit, I can tell if I want to go back and fill in anything. We'll color that in there. Next, I'm going to come in with my Cajun Craze. And I'm going to color in the bottom of my boot. Just following the dotted lines here from my image. Down into the toe. And again, I'm not worrying too much about streaks at this point. We'll just wait and see if, as it dries, if we want to go back. Then I'm going to grab my soft suede, and I'm using the brush tip on all of these, and I'm going to color in the top here. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to go over this black pull strap here a little bit. Okay, and it looks like I need the crumb cake. And I'm just going to come along and fill in a little. I don't know if I mentioned chocolate chip. Did I mention chocolate chip? I need my chocolate chip marker. And I'm going to, it's actually chocolate chip, not espresso. I'm sorry. I'm going to color in my heel. Now, I'm not going to bore you as I color a second boot through the magic of pre-production. I have one right here. So all I'm going to do now is cut out this one, and we're going to set that aside to dry for a little while. Okay, so let's work on assembling our card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Argyle pattern here, and I'm going to attach it to my Cajun Craze designer piece like that. Then I have about 7 inches here of early espresso seam binding ribbon, and I'm going to attach that, covering up the seam where my 2 designer papers meet, like so. And then I can attach all of this to my early espresso panel. And I'm going to stand up, make sure I get this perfectly straight. As straight as I can do it, right? It's not bad. Okay, next, I'm going to take my window frame die cut piece here, and I'm going to sponge it lightly, and I'm going to start with soft suede and just work around the edges. So I don't want that stark vanilla there, and then I'm just going to sponge lightly in the center and put that away. Now I'm going to bring in early espresso, and I'm going to add just a little to the outside. When I first made this card, I used early espresso all the way around and throughout with my sponging, and I thought it was just way too dark. So I decided to tone it down a little with the soft suede. Okay, so now that's done. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive to the back here. Then I'm going to take my early espresso cut piece, and I'm just going to cut that in half. And then I can layer it behind my vanilla piece, like so. Try to get that even on both sides. Let's see. Ooh, that's not even at all, is it? Let's try that again. Now, next I'm going to come in with my early espresso ink and my greeting, kick up your heels. Now originally this stamp was attached to the boot, and all I did is cut it off with my snips when I received it so that I would have two separate images. So when they came, they were assembled together, and I just separated them out. Okay, so now we have the kick up your heels there, and we're going to bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals. Attach those to the back of our card, or the back of our image, so that we can attach this all onto the front of our card. Oops. Okay. These little buggers, they don't want to cooperate when you're trying to tape, do they? Okay, so now I'm going to attach this to the front of my card, like so. Then I can come in with my boot that was already cut and attach that on the front. And then I'm just going to cut my other boot. And I'm leaving just a tiny bit of Very Vanilla showing around the edge. I'm trying not to go exactly to the edge. But you can if you don't prefer to have a little bit of the Very Vanilla showing. So I'll cut this. Okay. Almost done. Around here. Okay. That's good. Okay. Just add a little bit of Stampin' Dimensional to the back of this boot. Add that on. Just overlap it a little bit. And then the whole entire panel can go onto my card base with Stampin' Dimensionals. And again, I'm going to just stand up quickly to see that. And there you go. So there you have it. There's my card. So thank you for joining me today. I look forward to stamping with you again in the future. You can find a supply list and complete details with shopping information and links to my online store on my blog. The direct link will be in the URL below, or you can just visit www.stampininthesand.blogspot.com. Thank you again for joining me, and have a great day. Bye.